Thanks so much for watching On the Trail of a Nephilim and our daily special UFO report. UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. But here's the deal. There is a hidden history that has been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. And that's why we are on the trail of the Nephilim. We'll be circling back again to the Temple of Fertility, who knows what the thing was really called, on the border of Peru and Bolivia. You'll find that fascinating. As promised, and I want to thank Al, a friend of the show, Al T in New Jersey. You know who I'm talking about, Al. Thanks so much. He gave me a reminder, LA, don't forget the pyramid. So we'll talk about that. And also, a good friend of the show out in Norway sent me the clip, the original clip. So I didn't have it, but he was listening to the show, and he sent me the clip of the bronze chisel trying to cut the granite. You'll see that in just a minute. But first, a word from our sponsor, My Patriot Supply. Friends, the time to prepare for bad times is during good times. If you know a big storm is coming, you prepare in advance. Same goes for our nation's future. Things seem calm right now, so it's the perfect time to prepare for the next big crisis. That's why we recommend stocking up on emergency food for My Patriot Supply. Folks, I'm not telling you to do anything that I already haven't done. We've got cans here in Oklahoma. We've got cans out in our studio in the Santa Monica Mountains. My Patriot Supply is America's #1 preparedness company with millions of happy, well-prepared customers. Their food lasts up to 25 years in storage. It's an insurance policy you can eat. When you need it, it will be there. And right now, you can save $50 on a 4-week emergency food kit. The kit provides breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, 11Zs, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. Every family in America should have one of these, folks. Check it out. Please go to preparewithla.com. That's preparewithla.com. Save $50 on your 4-week food kit. That's preparewithla.com. Do it before the peanut butter hits the fan. Once again, preparewithla.com. So I'm going to roll the clip. I rolled it yesterday, but I want to show it to you again. It's called the Temple of Fertility. Once they make up names, the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Moon. They have no idea what this stuff was called. They don't even know who built them. They don't know who the builders of this particular site was. They don't know. It's all guesswork. So here's the site. Do a little video here. We're at the Temple, the Fertility Temple, so-called Fertility Temple. Again, Brian was telling me these are basalt stones, and I want you to take a look at some of the joinery here. Absolutely incredible. I mean, who gets up on a Monday morning and decides to join stones with just multi-side polygonal shapes? It's absolutely incredible. And again, you'll see here no mortar anywhere. No mortar anywhere. I'm going to slowly walk around the side of the building here and give you a shot of the cornerstone. And look at this. Notice the way. I'm going to stop it right there. You'll notice that many of the stones placed one on top of each other are in an arch. I'm a woodworker. I built all the doors and all the cabinets in our new house with a labor of love. I wanted to do that. I built it all out of recycled lumber. Maybe I'll show you a picture of that. But I love working with wood. I built things in the round. Very difficult. Can it be done in wood? Absolutely. Of course it can. People have done it. Can you do it in stone? Of course it can. But it's 3 times, 4 times harder than just to build like this, a regular. That's why most doors and most houses are not arched. The lintel is dead level. Why? Because it's much easier, way easier. So if you want like an arched door, buku bucks, because you got to make the opening, right? You got to make the arch. You got to make the door frame, which is an arch. You got to make a door, which is an arch, and it's all got to fit. So what we're seeing here, and notice right there, everything is arched. Let's continue. All curved. There's not one stone here which is the same as another. And I'm going to stop it there. Right here, you can see the arches on all these stones. I mean, you can see it's plain as day. I mean, there they are. Do you realize what it's like to fit? It's one thing with wood. Okay, Bob, let's pick it up. It's not quite right. Okay, with the sand, right? Push it back in. Look at the size of the stones. How are they moving these things? Are you kidding me? Let's continue. Each stone is uniquely shaped and carved and set in place in a mortarless construction. Absolutely phenomenal. And some of the larger stones, like this one right here, obviously weighs a lot more than 2 or 3 tons. So we talked about this, and again, thanks for LT in New Jersey. Al, can I say your last name? I better not. Anyway, LT in New Jersey, the granite stones in the pyramid were transported from Aswan, more than 560 miles away. So what I said yesterday was absolutely true. I said about 500 miles, and it's well, actually more than 500. So the granite stones. So if the pyramid is 3,000 years old, or 4,000 years old, or older, all bets are off, okay? The largest weighing 25 to 80 tons for the roof of the king's chamber. So this is a shot, a side shot. The red line is where they tunneled into the pyramid, and they found this tunnel which led up to the grand gallery. Up on top here, you will see the king's chamber, and that's where these, right above that, are all these blocks that were actually used to as stress relief points, because it's massive, the amount of stonework and the amount of weight that's on the chamber. So this is a shot of the grand gallery. Once again, that's the grand gallery right there. Here's a shot probably from the 20s by the looks of it. What the heck are we looking at? What is this? It's certainly not a burial chamber. There was not any hieroglyphics found except for a cartouche above the king's chamber which said Khufu. But many people, myself included here, believe that that was completely faked to push it back to Khufu. This thing's far older. In my opinion, angelic technology, whether it's fallen or good, I don't know yet. I'm still weighing that out. Could be fallen, could be angelic, the good guys. I don't know. I don't know. I lean towards fallen because I think there was a grid system on the planet created by the fallen ones, and all that was destroyed in the Great Flood. This is the shot of the king's chamber here. There is the so-called sarcophagus. Guess what? The sarcophagus will not fit through the doorway right here. You see this little door right up on top right there? That's the doorway into the king's chamber. Guess what? If a sarcophagus doesn't fit through the door, then it can't fit through the door, which means that the sarcophagus must have been lowered into the king's chamber during construction. What are we looking at? Who goes? It's not a burial chamber, folks. It's not. There never was, when they busted into this thing, they never found any funerary objects at all. Notice that one side has been broken. Not sure what that's about. Many people believe that the Great Pyramid was some sort of an energy device, possible. The covering of the Great Pyramid had a limestone casing. That thing must have just shone like crazy. And it's not a four-sided pyramid, it's an eight-sided pyramid. Each side folds a little bit. They didn't see that until they got in the air. And then they realized that there's a slight bend in the pyramid, like this. So the pyramid's not, one side of the pyramid isn't straight, it's slightly bent in the middle. So check this out. We are told that these granite blocks were shipped from Aswan, 560 miles away, and then erected in the king's chamber. All right. So if the narrative doesn't fit, then we are either being deliberately lied to, or there's a managed agenda. It's a managed agenda. I'll watch the clip and then I'll weigh in on it. Here we go. And once again, I want to thank Christian for doing this, and we'll get into his little email that he sent me at the very end. I want to thank him so much for sending me these. Here we go. Granite block. Bronze chisel. Notice the point. Notice the point. No dents, right? No dents. Chisel's in pristine condition. Now watch what happens. One hit. Here we go. One hit. One strike. Now let's look at the bottom of the chisel. It gets better, right? 8 hits, nothing happened to the block. Now look at the bottom of it. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if you can't cut granite with a bronze chisel, how the heck are you supposed to do it with a copper chisel? Guess what? You can't. And here's the other one. Watch this. Bronze is harder than copper as a result of alloying that metal with tin or other metals. Bronze is also more fusible. and is hence easier to cast. It is also harder than pure iron and far more resistant to corrosion. So again, we're told that they use copper chisels. This is what Egyptologists say. They use copper chisels, please, Khufu. No, they didn't. We're looking at fallen angel technology, Nephilim architecture, in my opinion. That's what we're looking at. Check this out. Granite block. There's the block. There's the copper chisel. Notice it's in pristine shape. All right, there it is. Let's see what happens when we try to cut the granite block with the bronze chisel. Place the chisel. Nothing happens to the granite block. Nothing's happening. We're just always trying to do is chip off a piece. You can't even do that. Okay, now let's look at the chisel. I'm laughing. Why? Because it's just laughable. These clowns are teaching your kids and your grandkids all about archaeology. Oh, the Egyptians built it. They used copper chisels, all right? No such things as giants. There you go. They did a great job of flattening the chisel. What nonsense. So here's the deal, and this is from Christian Lovedell. It's my pleasure, LA. This is so exciting because I wrote him back and I said, thank you so much for sending this. And I think did I say Carlson, John Adam, in the beginning? Carson's our webmaster. Or did I say Christian?
No.
Okay, it's good. I got the right name. Good. 1,000 pardons, Christian, if I slipped up. This is what he writes. It's my pleasure, LA. This is so exciting. Interesting, actually. Last night I could not sleep. I prayed to the Lord why. And then ping, a reminder from YouTube where I subscribed to your channel came on my iPhone. And there you were, talking directly to me. My heart nearly jumped out and I had to respond right away. What happened was I talked about that someone had sent me this clip of the chisel trying to work in granite, but I had lost it in the fire, right? So he's going to sleep. He can't sleep. iPhone pings. This is the day that we broadcast that, right? And here it is. He sent me the clips, and I just showed them to you. All that to say this, folks. All that to say this, that if the official narrative, if you can't prove the official narrative, then you're either deliberately lying or you're just, you know, a Nimrod. You're just a minister of disinformation. Or you're so stupid that, you know, this is what you're going to go with. And it doesn't work. So if that's not the truth, what is the truth? I say that on the show pretty much every day. What is the truth? What is the truth? I just demonstrated that a bronze chisel, which is harder than copper, cannot cut granite. How were the granite slabs that are above the king's chamber, how were they cut? 80 tons? Do you have any idea what 80 tons is? How was it? Well, they built sand wraps away and they had mastodons and there were thousands of slaves with ropes and barogs and all this stuff. Show me. You can't show me because it's all nonsense. And the reason why they go there, and we actually did this when we were on the island of Mallorca, and we sat down with archaeologist Danny, right? And there was an illustration showing how the towers were built, these round circular towers, right, on the island. This is all in Lost Civilizations. Shameless plug, but it's episode 7 in the On the Trail of a Nephilim series. This is why we're there. And so he's showing me all these illustrations, and I go, well, hold on, Danny. Has anyone ever tried this? No. So they have the sand ramps and the oxen rolling the stones up and all this stuff. Well, no one's ever tried it. It looks really good on paper, but until you prove it to me, it's not going to work. Until you can show me how the pyramids, how they moved 80-ton stones into the pyramid. And remember, this is not ground level. These stones weighing 80 tons are brought about 2/3 of the way up. So here's the pyramid like this. The king's chamber is right about in here, about 2/3 of the way up. That's where the granite blocks. Oh, what they did it with sand ramps, LA. Sure they did. And I've got a nice bridge to sell you. Anyway, folks, let's continue. If you're interested at all, and I pray that you are, please go, because it supports us, what we do. All right? When you purchase the DVDs, all 7 of them, on the Trail of the Nephilim, or you go to our streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net, it keeps me out in the field. And we've got some sites planned that we're going to go visit this year. We're also going to bring some experts in when we visit the sites. It'll be very interesting. All this costs money. Guess what? Guess what? When you buy something, when you purchase this, when you support what we do here, it keeps me on the trail. And I am on the trail. And vicariously, you become on the trail too. In fact, I should get a little button or a hat or something that if you want to donate or you buy a bunch of stuff or you spend so much money, you get an official, I'm on the trail type of thing. Because it keeps me on the trail. That's why we're working on episode number 8. We're not sure what that's going to be yet. It might be Lost Civilizations 2, where we go to Gozo, Malta, and other places, which we haven't even talked about yet. So I got to get on it, and I'm on it. My house is built. Your intrepid host continues. So let's move on to the whole UFO phenomenon. There's the disc. Disclosure, pass it forward. In the film, UFO disclosure of a coming great deception in the Luciferian endgame, I sat down with Al Matthews, okay? And Al Matthews became the centerpiece of this film. So we know from Jesus, who says, as in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Now, we're the ones, Richard Shaw and I, that interviewed the so-called shooter that brought down the Afghan giant in the Kandahar province. This is where the deep state had a word with yours truly, because they didn't want this information brought out. But we brought it out. And you can see that Dan has been impaled by the giant who comes out of the cave. It's actually a really good illustration, and bully for him. But I've never seen that until I went online today, and there it was. That's our information. We brought it to light. We covered it in our Watchers series, Watchers 10. It's there. If you want to watch the whole thing and get the interviews, we have 2 witnesses. That's why we went with it. Let everything be established by 2 or more witnesses. We have the shooter who shot this thing, and we have a Marine that was based in the Kandahar province on the base several years after the alleged shooting, and he told us of cave training where he was told, aim high. Why am I aiming high? Shouldn't I be aiming like this? No, aim high. Why was he told to aim high in cave training? And rumors all around the base was that a 12-foot giant had been killed in the Kandahar province. I'm not making this up. So, as in the days of Noah, what was on the earth? The Nephilim were on the earth. There's a shot of it right there. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If you're interested in finding out how the Nephilim returned after the flood, shameless plug, purchase my book, Countermove, How the Nephilim Returned After the Flood. But Al Matthews had an encounter with a hybrid entity. As in the days of Noah, what differentiates the days of Noah? The fallen angels are mating, taking wives and creating a hybrid entity. The unholy union, the unholy offspring of the fallen angels and the women of earth create this entity known as the Nephilim. Go back to that slide. That is a Nephilim right there. Red hair, 6 fingers, 6 toes, double rows of teeth. Oh, and by the way, they found exactly that in the Americas. Red hair, 6 fingers, 6 toes, double rows of teeth. There were Nephilim right here in the Americas, guaranteed. So Al Matthews, and you should watch the film. And unlike everything up to this point where you got to go and rent, you can watch this film for free. And I encourage you to do that. Right in the text box where it says show more, click show more, scroll down a little bit, free UFO film. There's the link. Check it out. It's free. What are you waiting for? It's an hour long. In that, Al Matthews has an encounter with a woman who's wearing these dark glasses. This woman, in both Al's opinion and my opinion, is a hybrid. She is a modern-day Nephilim. As in the days of Noah, so it will be, right? It'll be like the days of Noah. It's similar. Was she a giant? No, she wasn't. But when she went to kiss him, he pushed her away. Her eyes shape-shifted, and she let out an incredibly evil laugh. There's a scene in the film where Al's talking, and Wesley Sangiorgi did a wonderful job bringing the scene to life through computer-generated imagery. So there's this scene where Al is on the deck, And this is before this episode led him to Jesus. This episode, he ran out of there and he went to Gordy Tong, who was a friend. But Gordy's a Christian, and Gordy had me on the phone. We Skyped, we talked, we gave Al information. 2 weeks later, he came to the Lord. Hallelujah. Here's what happened. So he's on the deck. It's a beautiful evening, and this woman with the dark glasses is there with a friend. They're drinking wine out of a huge goblet, all right? So Al goes, oh my gosh, you've got a huge fly on the edge of your goblet. And it wasn't there, obviously, before the fly just landed, like a deer fly, like really big. And she goes, oh no, I'll get it. And she goes like this. This is all in the film. She reaches out with her second finger, and the fly sticks to her finger. She doesn't grab it. The fly sticks to her finger. She brings it to her mouth. When it's about this far away, she goes, she sucks it in. How is it possible? You can't do that. I can't do that. And Al is completely taken aback by this. Then she takes the glasses and she goes over to Al. And that's when he pushes her away, when she tries to kiss him. And she lets out the most evil laugh. Her eyes have shifted. They go yellow. Seriously, folks? Hybrids walking amongst us. This is real. So we can either believe in the words of our Lord and Savior Jesus, that it'll be like the days of Noah when the Son of Man return, or we can just say, well, I guess he really didn't mean that. I don't know why he's trying to scare us all with this stuff. If you have something, don't call me. Take it up with him. I didn't say this. I'm just peeling back the layers of the onion. We all see through a glass darkly. Folks, this stuff is happening. It happened to Al, and that incident led him to the Lord. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I have for. Thanks so much for watching On the Trail of the Nephilim. And, of course, our daily UFO report will be back here on Monday. If you have seen a UFO, have pictures, have videos, had an encounter, have been abducted, if you were taken, please shoot me an email. la@lamarzulli.net, la@lamarzulli.net. I'll read it right here. Maybe we can do a Skype, a Zoom video, if you're bold enough to come on the record. Please, people need to hear about your experience, because this is real, burgeoning, and not going away. That's all the time I have for. Remember, we'll see you on the air or in the air.